Good evening everyone, I'm James Ford-Bannister, BAFRA Director of Training for 2020 and 2021. In this video we will revisit question 43 from the BAFRA Annual Examination of 2020. So let's break down the question. It's 3rd and 10 from Team A's 4-yard line. A25 carries the ball to Team A's 2-yard line and fumbles it, which is recovered by B13 at Team A's 6-yard line. B13 then fumbles the ball at Team A's 3-yard line and the ball rolls into Team A's end zone. A1 recovers the ball and while still in the end zone throws a forwards pass which is caught by A88 who runs out of bounds at Team A's 25-yard line. During B13's run, Team B's head coach commits an unsportsmanlike conduct foul. Now as you heard there, this is quite a complex play with many different things happening, so let's take a look at it visually. The centre's going to snap the ball to the quarterback, who's going to hand it off to A25, who's going to run to the 2-yard line, where they fumble it, where it's going to be recovered by B13 at the A6, who is then going to run to Team A's 3-yard line. Meanwhile, during this run, the head coach commits an unsportsmanlike conduct foul. B13 is then going to fumble that ball into the end zone, where it's going to be recovered by A9, who's going to throw the ball forwards, and it is going to be received by A88, who is then going to run out of bounds at the Team A 25-yard line. So now we know what the play looks like. We need to decide which of the statements A through D is correct, and I'm going to start with statement D, which states that the next play will be snapped from Team A's 40-yard line. Now, in the question, we're told that Team B's head coach commits an unsportsmanlike conduct foul, and that is covered under Rule 9.1, which states that live ball fouls by non-players, which would be the Team B's head coach, and all dead ball fouls will be enforced 15 yards from the succeeding spot. There will also be an automatic first down for live ball and dead ball fouls by Team B if not in conflict with other rules. If this was the only penalty on the play, this statement would be accurate. But are they the only team that's committed a penalty on the play? No, they're not. Team A has also committed an illegal forwards pass, which is found under Rule 732C, which states that a forwards pass is illegal if it is thrown after team possession has changed during the down. There was a fumble by Team A, recovered by Team B, and a subsequent fumble by Team B, recovered by Team A, meaning there were 2 changes of team possession during the down. It is unlikely that Team B will decline this penalty, and therefore the statement that the ball will be snapped from the 40-yard line is false. Now let's take a look at statement A, which states that the next play will be snapped from Team A's 4-yard line, which is also the previous spot. And we know from Rule 10.1.6 that live ball fouls never offset dead ball fouls, and the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty by Team B's head coach is a live ball foul that is treated as a dead ball foul, and we can see this from the penalty statement that states that we must give signal 7. Rule 10.1.6b also tells us that when a live ball foul by one team is followed by one or more dead ball fouls, including live ball fouls treated as dead ball fouls by an opponent, the penalties are administered separately and in order of occurrence. Therefore, we cannot go back to the previous spot and replay the down for offsetting penalties, and we must look for another truth. Now we've only got 2 statements remaining, and only one can be correct, and statement B says that the next play will be snapped from Team A's 17-yard line. Now the logic here would be that we would enforce the illegal forwards pass penalty half the distance to the goal from the 4 to the 2, and then we'd tack on the 15-yard dead ball unsportsmanlike conduct foul by Team B from the 2 to the 17. But is this correct? Well, Rule 851B tells us that there is a safety if there is an accepted penalty for a foul that leaves the ball on or behind the offending team's goal line. And the penalty statement for Rule 732C tells us that it is 5 yards from the spot of the foul when there is an illegal forwards pass after a change of team possession. Therefore, Team A have committed a safety, awarding 2 points to Team B, and meaning that we cannot enforce half the distance to the goal, and making this statement incorrect. By virtue of the other 3 statements being incorrect, we know that statement C, the next play will be a free kick from Team A's 35-yard line, is correct. But we also want to know why it's correct, and we can find that in Rule 852B, which tells us that after a safety is scored, the ball belongs to the defending team, Team A in this case, at its own 20-yard line, and that the team shall put the ball in play on or between the hash marks by a free kick that may be a punt, a drop kick, or a place kick. We'd then enforce the dead ball unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against Team B's head coach from that 20-yard line forwards to Team A's 35-yard line, meaning that we have that free kick from Team A's 35-yard line. Thank you for listening to this breakdown of question 43 from the BAFRA Annual Examination of 2020. I hope that you've learned something and that you return to us in the future for more of these video breakdowns. I've been James Ford-Bannister, BAFRA Director of Training for 2020 and 2021.